Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching another one of my interviews here at CPAC, right outside of Washington, D.C. We're actually at National Harbor, and with me today is another person that I have talked to that I have found to be fighting for our freedoms and our liberties in our country. Zachary Wanuga, thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, you know, I say another person that's fighting for freedoms and liberties. It's a succinct way for me to say that you're passionate about our country. But from talking to you, it sounds to me like you're very passionate in a lot of different ways that's bringing enlightenment to other people about information. What do you like to talk about the most?
Well, a lot of people are confused today. They think that there is a civil war inside of the Republican Party. They think that there's a lot of different factions in the Republican Party that are sniping at each other, whether it be conflicts of policy or who wants to be the Speaker of the House or just simple, dividing party lines and factions within our party. I don't seem to see that there's a civil war inside of the Republican Party, and the reason I don't see that to be the case is because there is no difference in the policy that the different candidates of the Republicans are proposing. Now, a lot of the Republicans agree on the policy. Kevin McCarthy votes with Donald Trump almost 97% of the times. Matt Gaetz does. A lot of the Republican politicians are unified on the policy. Whatever this, quote, civil war is about, I don't see it because even Ron DeSantis has no policy disagreements with Donald Trump except for possibly a little difference between Social Security, which I believe Ron DeSantis is going to end up supporting not cutting Social Security in the end as well. But whatever the Republicans are arguing about, it doesn't seem to be effective because we are all united on what we want for our country, putting America first, making sure that our national security is strong, and making sure our economy is finally revitalized again from these terrible policies that have caused incredible inflation caused by Joe Biden.
What's interesting to me is, and I'm glad that you pointed out, you're shining the light on it, because the media, the big media, is always saying that the Republicans are fighting or the Democrats are fighting, we're fighting against each other, but you're actually showing a more unified party than what the media is saying, which I think is a way to protect our freedoms. I always connect things back to freedoms, and this is why. Because when they divide us up, it's an attack on our freedom, because when they divide us up, we are not unified in such a way that we're protecting each other's freedoms and liberties. So I think it's a tactic from the left and the Democrats to show us as an ununified party in a way to be able to take freedoms away or infringe on them later. Would you agree with that?
Of course. It's a simple divide and conquer method. I mean, they want to divide the Republican Party up into factions, but nobody is disagreeing on the policy. We're all for putting America first. Nobody likes all this money that's going to Ukraine. It's so hard to pay for groceries. Gas is through the roof. These are the issues that we're all talking about. Where's the Civil War? Where's the disagreement? What are we disagreeing on? We want to put America first. We want to revitalize the economy, and we want to bring us back to the economic message that won us in 2016 of bringing down costs, bringing down inflation, bringing down costs at the pumps, putting national security first. Stop sending all this money to Ukraine for proxy wars that we have no involvement in. These are the policies that all Republicans are agreeing on right now. Where is this civil war? We are a united front going into this party. The little sniping that seems to be happening, it has to stop because we all agree and we want what's best for the country, and that is our America First agenda that everybody at this conference, all Republicans, agree on.
Zachary, you're a young guy. You can tell from the camera, but you have a world of knowledge. The knowledge that comes out sounds like you have years of experience, more than the average American does, but you're a young guy. So, and I want to compliment you for all the knowledge that you've been able to not only tell other people, but be able to use as a tool to inform people to get motivated to be more united. But I want to ask you this: what motivates you? Is it the desire for freedom that motivates you, that you want to protect freedom in America? Or is it that you want to protect the Republican Party because you talk about there's no civil war? Or is it because at your young age, you know the world you're going to have to live in if you don't fight for it now? Which one is it?
You hit the nail right on the coffin there. I want to grow up in a country that is going to be great for me, for my children. My parents feel the same way. I am a young guy. My parents don't want to leave a country for me that I am going to have to struggle in order to get by economically, in order to find jobs. And if we keep printing money like this, if we keep regulating the economy, if we keep doing all these terrible policies in this inflationary economy, our country, the dollar, is going to decrease in value. These cultural wars that are being fought right now, we're losing our country to a woke agenda. And I don't want to wake up in a country where I don't understand or I don't know the country doesn't look like it did previously. All right, the country is changing radically due to this woke agenda and due to the economic agenda that's being falled back on it as well. They're making you rely on the government in order to get by, and once you're reliant on the government, if they take that away, you are now a slave to the government and to the people who are overlording you, which is not just the government, but also the big tech corporations as well. It's not just government, because the big tech corporations and all of the big corporations are in cahoots with the government. It just came out. The FBI has 60 agents inside of big tech monitoring conservatives. During COVID, your job was not essential. But if you work at Amazon or Walmart, these big corporations, now you're an essential employee. Wonder why that is.
So tell me something, Zachary. My generation always jokes around about how our children and our grandchildren are going to be the ones paying the national debt. Now, I might be a couple years older than you, Zachary, not to age myself or anything like that, but you're that generation that we're referring to that's going to be paying the debts of the decisions that the policymakers that we voted for are making today. And I'm going to say we. Not necessarily Republicans. I'm just saying in general, these people in Congress today.
And how dare they? How dare they take our prosperity from the future by printing money now? That's what they're doing. We're going to hurt down the line from it. Inflation is just a tax on citizens. That's all it is. And it's created, all right? The more they print, the less they have to pay off in debt. The creation is a tax on citizens. How dare they take prosperity from my generation and take it in order to revitalize the economy right now by just endlessly pumping money into it so it can fall and falter in the future in my generation. How dare they?
Zachary, and not only I love the indignation that you got there. I love the spirit, and I'll tell you why. Because you are a prime example of taxation without representation. You're being taxed today, and you're going to be paying taxes when you had zero representation at your young age. You could not vote for the people that are taxing you today and will be taxing you for the next rest of your life because of that national debt they put us in.
Yes, and maybe it isn't a little flat tax, maybe it isn't an income tax, but it's going to be, instead of your McDonald's meal costing $10 like it does today, it's going to cost $20 in the next 10 years. That's the tax that we're talking about. They are taking prosperity from my generation in order to pump money in the economy right now, and politicians just want to kick the can down the road. It doesn't want to be under my watch. I'm not going to worry about the deficit. I'm not going to worry about my spending. I'm just going to keep printing money like in the Federal Reserve. Janet Yellen has really done a lot, and the Biden inflationary policies has done a lot to destroy the economy of this country, and it needs to turn around quickly, or else things are going to spiral downhill even worse than they have now.
Zachary, tell me, freedom's under attack in America. In your opinion, what freedom is most under attack in America?
The freedom of free speech. Like we said, government is in cahoots with the big tech industries in order to silence conservatives. I mean, you have money being pumped into these big tech industries. Government money, by the way, that's where your tax dollars are going as well, thanks to the federal government, not just going to Ukraine, it's going to silence your voices online in private companies, by the way. Private companies, they're sending federal agents, 60 FBI agents, into private tech companies to censor Americans' voices. That is wrong. That is a big problem. The big tech companies are in cahoots with the federal government and doing the bidding on the federal government. That's why whenever these people get taken down, Alex Jones or whoever's getting taken down now, although you don't have to agree with their policy, you need to be allowed to let them speak, and they're doing the bidding of the federal government. That's the problem. They have the right to take them down as private companies, but it is shown, number one, they're not showing it in their terms of service that they're banning conservatives, and number two, they are doing the bidding of the federal government by taking down people that the federal government tells them to.
So Zachary, my last question is going to bounce off the first question, okay? You talked about in the beginning about how they're trying to say there's a civil war amongst Republicans, and that we're fighting over policies and we don't agree on them at all whatsoever. it's part of what the tactic they're using to divide us. But I feel in general, Americans are more divided than we really are. We're actually more united than we actually are. How are you working towards that? What do you feel more Americans can unite on to save our freedoms and liberties?
If you look at the breakdown of different groups in America, a lot of us agree on the same thing, and they make it look like we don't. So a lot of the African American community, 80%, is for immigration reform, because when people come into this country, they're not moving up to Beverly Hills and taking their jobs. They're coming in and they're going and taking the jobs in the urban areas. A lot of people also agree on guns. They don't want the government to have be the only people who has the guns, because nobody trusts the government, and that's exactly why nobody should be for giving the government more power. Who the hell is for higher taxes? I've never heard of that one before.
Exactly right. I love it. Zachary, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
And everybody else, please look into Zachary Wanuga. Do you have a website or anything like that, or Facebook page?
You can follow me on Instagram at Real Zachary Wanuga. That's Real, ZACHARYWANUGA.
All right, follow Zachary and share the video, and we got some other videos coming up next. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.